Hi everyone. So I'm going to keep it really short and sweet. I know that many of you in the audience probably know ALSPAC just as well as I do. Mark certainly does, Carolina. Lots of other people have been using ALSPAC data. But I think it's always useful, at least for me, even though I know it really well, I'm always surprised I discover something that is there that I didn't know of. So this is going to be a whistle-stop tour of what ALSPAC is about and how you might go about finding out if it can work for you and for your research. So ALSPAC, of course, is the Avon longitudinal study of parents and children, and one of my roles is to oversee and kind of lead new data collection in the cohort. And so, again, very quickly, this is the structure of our study. So way before my time, Jean Golding, who founded the study, so our inclusion criteria in the early 1990s was women with an expected delivery date between April 91 and the end of 1992. And she managed, and the ALSPAC team, to recruit 14,500 pregnancies, which are approximately 75% of the eligible pregnancies in the greater Bristol area, which is in the map there. And since then, at the age of 7, there was an attempt to recruit further pregnancies that would have been eligible. And so really, but 14,500 is the size of our initial cohort. And the person who kind of is responsible for participation in ALSPAC in the family is the mum. And that's what we call now, because it's a multi-generational study, it gets really confusing. So we use the terms G0 for generation 0 for our original parents, the G0 mother, and the G0 partner, as we now refer or prefer to refer to, because a mother can change partners, and we are open to all of the family. We don't have these very strict, we actually take a more social kind of definition of parenthood. So G0 mothers, G0 partners, and then our G1s are basically our index participants whom we have followed up since they were in utero, and they are now around 35 years of age, just under. And of course, they are now having, and we have about 2,000 of our G2 participants, so the G1 participants' children, who we call fondly our COCOs, because ALSPAC is known to its participants as the children of the 90s. And I'm sure you've seen, in the city, it's really a source of pride, and people know about the children of the 90s. And so our COCOs are the children of the 90s. So those are our G2s, and we have over 2,000 of those recruited, and we will continue to do so over the course of our now, we're 1 year more or less into our strategic award from MRC, Wellcome, and the University of Bristol. They kind of give the award that keeps the study going. So that is, and if you have any questions, just, just say, and we can stop and address them. This is just a really nice infographic that is now really, really old, but just shows the richness of the data available in ALSPAC, which, as I said, even, I find new things all the time, and I have to go looking to see if somebody will ask me, oh, do we have data on breastfeeding? And I'm like, and then I'll have to go and find it. But this is a list of some of the stuff that we have, including our omics data, got genetics, on all of our adult participants and are in the process of getting it on our COCOs as well. I've put the placentas here because it's relevant to congenital heart disease. It's my personal interest. I know Carolina works on the omics together with myself on the placental omics data. And of course, cardiovascular health has always been a really main focus of the cohort. And we have really nice lifelong measures on our G1 participants, so our index children, but also repeat measures on our G0s and now on our G2s. And so I thought I'd just put a couple of slides up because I know to me it's kind of natural and I know where to go and find stuff in ALSPAC, but it's so incredibly complex for anybody looking in who doesn't know it. So just a few kind of entry points into ALSPAC and how you might go and have a look and see if ALSPAC works for you and can answer your research questions. So this is just literally off the ALSPAC website and just shows you, I mean, look at so many questionnaires and various clinics and across a timeline. So different people's brains work in different ways. This is one of the ways that you can go and have a look at what is relevant to you. That up there is our website and how you might go and find out if we have data that is relevant to you and that you can use. And the way ALSPAC works is that on the website, you put in a research proposal, which is small, it's not onerous. It really is just, this is what I want to do. You tell us a bit about it. This comes to the study executive and the data team, of whom Mark is a member, and we don't police the research. So we just make sure that there's nothing there that will bring the study into disrepute. And it is a useful way for us because then we go away and have to cost. So if you want to collect new samples, that will have a different cost than if you want to look at just existing core questionnaire data. So it's just a way for us really to manage the interactions with the people the research community that we serve. So that's one way. Another way, and is the ALSPAC variable search tool, again on the ALSPAC website, and I've just literally put in, as you can see, my search here was blood pressure, and this is what the search, the variable search tool will give you. As you can see, there are lots of variables that are relevant to blood pressure, and that's because if you think about it, we have 3 generations of participants who have been followed up, 2 of them their entire lives, and our mothers and partners often as well, although less frequently. And so you've got, enormous amount of blood pressure measures from across the life course, from our G1s and G2s, and also several for our mothers and their partners. So this is what it looks like. And, where it says FOM1, that is Focus on Mothers 1 Clinic. So it will tell you exactly where, and you might need to get used to it a bit. Again, that's that kind of demystifying the terminology of the study, but you should, it says here it's the clinic, it's the G0s, and it will tell you how the counts is how many people that is available for. So you can get quite a lot even before requesting data through our variable search tool to see, again, if our data suits your purposes. And so this is just some of I'm interested in reproductive health and cardiovascular disease and the link between health and pregnancy and later life cardiovascular disease in both mothers particularly, but also offspring. So these are just a few of the things that I've done as a researcher now using ALSPAC data over the years. And this is another resource that I thought was worth signposting. So on the Wellcome Open Research website, which is open to any researchers / research that is funded by Wellcome, we have a bespoke ALSPAC gateway, which is that screenshot at the top. And what I've done here is I did a search on congenital heart disease, and these are two data notes that probably Mark is a much better place to talk about if you do want more information about these. But this tells you about the congenital defects data in ALSPAC. And you can go in there, and this is kind of, again, a service to the community. So if there's, you know, you think about some, so a couple of data notes that I've been involved in recently was estimating age at menopause and last menstrual period. And you kind of think, oh, well, you just ask, right? But if you ask it multiple times, the answers change, and you know, you can get a lot of information just from patterns. So if asking a woman, have you had a menstrual period in the last 12 months, in the last 3 months, so on and so forth. Have you had, for example, a hysterectomy? Are you taking hormonal contraception? So all of that, it actually becomes quite complicated. So what we do is we then present that work as a data note so that the research community knows that it's there and don't have to replicate that, but they can come to the data team and say, I've seen this data note, I know that the work has been done, that you've estimated the date of LMP or final menstrual period for your G0 participants. I want that derived variable. So that is a way of just showing our, as I said, our community what variables have been derived using all the repeat measures in ALSPAC, or, for example, ascertaining and classifying cases of congenital anomalies in the ALSPAC cohort, which is work that was led by Kurt, who was a PhD student at the IU. And I've just stuck in here because I thought it looks nice, but ALSPAC has moved. We used to be in Oakfield House, just around the corner, where the IU is still based, but we moved, I think, is it already a year, Mark? It's a year, isn't it? Yeah, as I thought that, I was like, I still think of it as new, and then every time I go there, I'm like, it's all new. But we moved to a new home at the L&R building in Southmead, which is great, and it helps us also kind of be embedded within our clinical community, which is lovely, and working with clinicians, because one of the things that we can do in ALSPAC is nested studies. So we are very much, you know, our award from MRC Wellcome and the support from the university is kind of a lights-on model, but we very much work with the research community. So somebody might come and say to us, oh, I'd like to do a recall by genotype study, or I'd like to do a recall by phenotype, or I want to look at and measure something in serum in participants with a given condition. So we can do all of that. And so really, if you have an idea and you're thinking, is there something that can help? Because we have the infrastructure and we have the relationship already with our participants. I'm working, for example, with an investigator from Oxford who is inviting both G0 and G1s to go to Oxford and undergo quite an extensive protocol to assess cardiovascular health, so stress tests and MRIs and all the rest. And they don't have to go out and, you know, recruit using posters and leaflets, but they can come to Bristol, do it within Bristol with our participants, and then every new bit of data is great value for money because it's linked to such a rich, you know, history of data in our participants. So you can really look at exposures across the life course in relation to your outcome of interest. And I think, yep, that is it. I hope that's useful. And please talk to me, talk to Mark. You know, we really welcome any informal inquiry, even if you're just thinking about a grant, if you're scratching your head. What we also do, for example, is working with Massimo so that our G2s can be controls for the Pearls cohort and so on, controls for our the IVF cohort led by Deborah Lawler. So we really, you know, think about our study, how our study can help you in your research, even if you're doing some clinical stuff and you want the population context. ALSPAC can be useful in that respect. Thanks very much.